Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, I'm with my brother Andrew. We're doing basically breaking down all of the free agency moves that have happened so far. More of them are coming in as we're recording the video, so probably towards the end we'll go over all of them that happened that aren't in this video. But if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell, be notified when I post next. What's up, Andrew? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Put this over
Busy
here.
day. Lots of stuff to keep up on. You check Twitter every 10 minutes and there's another signing. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, let me put that right here. There we go. Okay. But so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down on the NFL.com website. We say go down with the AFC East first. Talk about basically the bigger signings that have happened. Not every single person will probably get talked about, but we're gonna hit the big key ones because I mean if you're a backup who's gonna play 2 snaps in the year, I don't think it really matters.
That's
But
right.
so starting off the AFC East, we have the Buffalo Bills. Mitchell Trubisky signed back for 2 years, $5.5 million. Back up Josh Allen, which he did, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. I think it's a pretty decent signing for a backup quarterback. I mean, just in case Josh Allen gets hurt. They've had what's his name, not Case Keenum. Um,
It was another
oh
Allen. Brad Allen.
no, it was the old Browns. He started for a couple of games. The year the COVID year, I forgot his name, but he's some 39-year-old quarterback who just was their backup. It's gonna kill me. I need to know his name. 2022 Bills roster. But yeah,
Last year was 23.
I don't know, but I know he was on the team in 2022 though. He might not have been there last year. 2022. Oh my gosh, it's gonna kill me if I don't know who this is. Where is it? Quarterback. Oh, it was 2023. It was last year. I'm sorry. 2023. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I can't remember his name.
Pretty sure last year there was an Allen, like Allen backed up Allen.
It might have been. It might have been.
Yeah.
But I know there was one year where we traded him to the Bills, and he won us a couple of games during the COVID year, and he was a
Hmm.
pretty decent backup. But I mean, Mitch Trubisky, higher floor for a backup. If Josh Allen does get hurt, I think Mitch will be a little bit better than. Oh, it was Case Keenum. Oh, I forgot it was Case Keenum. Yeah, Case Keenum was their backup the last couple of years.
Okay.
But Mitch Trubisky, higher floor. Don't think he's gonna play. Hopefully he doesn't play because that means that Josh Allen's obviously out. So hopefully he doesn't play.
Right.
But
I mean,
yeah,
he didn't really impress all that much in Pittsburgh.
no,
But
no, not at all.
I don't know if that's more Pittsburgh's problem or his problem. But
Probably a little bit of
in
both.
a yeah,
I mean, we've seen him be successful in the NFL. He made the playoffs twice with
right,
the Bears. So,
right.
but then they extended their left tackle Deion Dawkins for 3 years. There's rumors that he could have been a cap casualty because he was on the last year of his contract, no guaranteed money left. But they decided to re-up his contract, give him an extension. I think he's a top four paid tackle now, which is a little rich for me. I don't think Deion Dawkins is a top even 10 left tackle, but he's a solid starter, I guess that they want to keep long term.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got chemistry to where Josh Allen's habits, he's a runner, so left tackle can only do so much. But if he can hold it up long enough to where Josh now has the ability to scramble, then I mean he's doing his job.
Yeah, and Dion, because if I remember correctly, Dion Dawkins also was like, I think he had some kind of like blood clot at one point, and they caught it really early, but like it was like some
Mm,
life threatening thing, and that's why he signed his extension, originally, and like it was like the team committed to him long term, if I remember. But I mean, the
right,
team stuck with him during that, so I think it's kind of like, why would we give up if we both want to be here?
right.
Because I mean, the Bills lost a lot. They lost a lot of guys in free agency. They lost Leonard Floyd. They lost Trey White through the cuts. They lost both their safeties. They lost
Yeah,
what was it, Gabe Davis to the Jaguars, I think.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
like they've lost a lot of
three
pieces. I
years.
think yeah, I think keeping Deion Dawkins is really important for their team to continue this
Yeah,
try and keep this window
offensive
open.
linemen are hard to find. So even if your guy isn't like top 10, if he's there and you're not going to be able to get a top 10 guy, then just keep who you got.
Well, that's why the Browns still have Jed Wills. he's been in trade rumors this entire offseason, but we restructured his contract, basically guaranteeing he's here next year because like there's
Mhm.
not a better option in free agency than these
Right.
fringe top 10, top 12 guys. There's just not
Right.
a better option. But I'm shocked that Tyron Smith is still available. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame left tackle from the Cowboys. Still hasn't signed. Wouldn't be shocked if he waits maybe a week or two. Maybe he waits till after the draft
Yeah.
even to sign somewhere. But
I don't know if after the draft, I think that he's gonna he wants to see what people are making. He wants to be top of the billing. Just because these guys who are the Cowboys who start there like, oh, we're hot stuff, but you know
yeah, apparently the
he'll
front
probably wait.
office is on vacation right now. That's what they're saying. Is that
The
the
Cowboys is
yeah their super yacht is in I forgot where it was. It's somewhere not in America though. Like apparently they're on vacation right now. They're in free
mm,
agency. There's no one from the front office is in Dallas.
yeah, that's
A
something
joke.
new.
That's a joke if that's true.
Yeah,
Because at least Jerry Jones isn't in Dallas, and Jerry Jones is the GM because his super yacht
right.
is currently not in America, which is an absolute
Wow.
joke that you would choose right now to go on a massive super
Well,
yacht vacation.
it's not like they ever do anything with free agency anyway.
No, they usually just retain their own guys for more than they
Right.
should.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, that'll be fun toward this end of the video. Um, then we're gonna move on to the Miami Dolphins. They didn't really make a whole lot of moves, but they lost a lot of guys. They
Right.
lost Brandon Jones, their starting safety. They lost. Well, I guess they cut Xavier Howard. Again, I'm shocked hasn't signed a deal yet. I thought he'd be one of the.
There's so many safeties out there that
I'm talking about
the
Xavier
teams
Howard.
who are right, he's a cornerback, not a
Yeah,
safety.
I'm shocked that he didn't like immediately get picked up somewhere as a former two or
Right.
three time Pro Bowler.
Yeah. I mean, he could. I know we're talking about the AFC East, but I mean
I mean, we're talking about
the
guys that just made
Lions.
cut.
Yeah, yeah. Like I feel like a lot of secondary needy teams who are like right on the cusp, like the Lions, like not the Chiefs.
The
Who am I thinking of?
49ers.
The 49ers. Yeah, like the 49ers have good guys, but they don't have a lot of depth to it, and the Lions have like trash guys. Like they're good, they're okay, but they're not like the deep ball was the biggest issue. So I know the Lions just traded for what's his name?
Who the,
Carlin
who they just
Carlton
trade for?
Davis. They traded the Bucks for Carlton Davis.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, it was this year's third round, and the Lions received Davis and next year fifth, I think, next year sixth.
That's not bad. I mean, that's why I'm shocked that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not retaining any of their cornerbacks from the Super Bowl run.
Mm.
I'm really confused why they just aren't at all when all their corners were a
I
big
mean,
reason.
they're they're getting older. I mean, they won a Super Bowl like what 3 4 years ago.
Well, 2021, yeah, 3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. So
Wow, Carlton Davis is 6 and a 6 for a third round pick. That's
oh,
not
is it
bad.
two sixes?
Yeah, well, yeah, 2 6s for a third, and you get the player as well.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't see that at all today. Wow, that's really
Yeah.
that's a good deal. But I mean, Miami also they lost Christian Wilkins. In my offseason plan videos, there were two routes they could have gone this offseason. Was keep Christian Wilkins for a lot of money and let your offensive line go, or keep your offensive line and let Christian Wilkins go. They just let them all go, which I don't understand why they just let everyone go. Robert Hunt 5 for 100. Christian Wilkins was 4 for 120. And Connor Williams, I think his name is, hasn't signed anywhere yet, but they already replaced it with Aaron Brewer. So I'm really confused what the Dolphins were doing this entire time. They let all their
Right.
good players that helped them win last year go, and they haven't replaced any of their pass rushers yet, outside of Jordan Brooks coming over on a cheap deal. I'm just confused why they haven't replaced anyone that they lost with anyone of caliber.
Yeah, I mean it's when you get a situation where you're like your team's right there, but then can't get over it. You can't get rid of the quarterback because they don't have a high enough draft pick to get somebody. And so you've got to sort of shave down the other stuff that was the issue, you know. And so I mean their defense was not that great. They just
No, and
lost
and
Fangio.
they're all hurt. Every single one of them are hurt.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean you gotta get younger, or you gotta get healthier, stronger at least.
Yeah, because
Or
they lost
someone who's there is better than somebody who's not who's good but never there.
yeah, because they lost Bradley Chubb, they lost Jalen Phillips, they lost another pass rusher, all three of them to torn ACLs in like a 4 week span. And just like
Right.
the only person they signed to even temporarily replace them was Jordan Brooks. So maybe they'll draft address it in the draft, but I was expecting cheap 1 year deals like to aged veterans for these kind of guys. But again, most of the time, aged veterans wait till like June or July to sign with teams because that's like they don't want to
Right.
go through the whole offseason OTAs. They just want to sign 2 weeks later play football. They don't want to go through this
Right.
whole offseason issue. So maybe the
Right.
Dolphins could be one of those teams that maybe a Kyle Van Noy, maybe a what's his name? What's his name? The other pass rusher that was the Chiefs and they won. Maybe they just like that. Maybe they're one of the teams that when the veterans are ready to sign, they're like, the 32, 33 year olds. They're one of the teams that sign them all. But I'm just shocked that they haven't
Yeah.
spent big money yet
Right.
because they prioritize Jonnu Smith over any defensive help, which I don't. Whatever. I don't like Jonnu Smith. I think he's horrible. But yeah, that's it for the Dolphins. They mainly just lost people. They did not retain anyone that I thought was good. They kept Nick Needham though, which I guess is cool. A depth corner. That's the only person they re-signed. But yeah, that's probably so far for me one of the biggest losers is that they've lost everyone that because again I in the offseason plan I said there's two routes. You keep Wilkins, lose offensive line, or you keep the offensive line, you lose Wilkins, and they lost everyone. They lost all three. So I think that's a big whiff on them. But next up, we have the New England Patriots. They signed Antonio Gibson, running back from the Commanders. That's a fine signing. I think just another depth guy. But he can actually play
Right.
rotation as a receiving back. They re-signed a good amount of people though. They re-signed Mike Onwenu, who is one of the better offensive linemen in the league. I remember when he got drafted. He just came out of the scene immediately. Was a Pro Bowler day one. So I was actually pretty happy to see him get his big time deal. Re-signed Hunter Henry, re-signed Kendrick Bourne. They tagged Kyle Duggar, but there's rumors that Kyle Duggar might be on the move. But I mean this post Brady, post Brady and post Belichick, off season. So far so good. So far so good in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean they've got to you got to keep some of the like Hunter Henry. You got to keep him because a tight end is like a new quarterback's best friend, and they're gonna draft somebody at 3, whether it's Jaden Daniels, whether it's Bo Nix, or whether it's not Bo Nix, um,
It's just Jaden Daniels.
Drake May.
There's no way Drake May slips past the Commanders. If he does, I think the Patriots would rather trade back and get a JJ McCarthy at like 10 or 11 and let whoever wants to trade up for Drake May. I would rather get the assets and know that JJ McCarthy's a perfect scheme fit than have Drake
Right.
May not be like that was because like they have Alex Van Pelt as a new OC, which I'm very
Mhm.
familiar with as he was with the Browns the last 4 or 5 years. Uh,
Right.
he runs a very old style West Coast offense. It's all off the run. You have a good run game,
Mhm.
you throw off the run game. And
Right.
Drake May not good at that at all. He is a pocket passer who would rather throw 55 times a game than hand off the ball 30 times. When JJ
Right.
McCarthy is coming from one of the most dominant run game like college teams of all time, and they won a national championship because of it. I just think
Right.
JJ McCarthy's a better scheme fit. I've been saying this. I don't think the Patriots draft at 3. I think no matter what they trade back and they draft McCarthy wherever they trade back at, because I think he's a better scheme fit.
Yeah, I think if you're right about that, I think that they could trade with the Vikings very
Yep,
easily.
that's the team I always have them trade back with is the
The
Vikings.
Vikings are at what, 8, 7?
They're
Where are
at
they at?
oh I think they're at 12. No, they're one ahead. Well, they're one ahead of
They're
another
single
team.
digit. I thought they were single digit placing.
Let me see PFF. So they are 11. They're one pick of again the Broncos.
Bottom.
They're one pick in front of the Broncos. And I don't see like for example, here's the teams that are after the Patriots but before the Vikings. You have the
Yeah.
Cardinals. They got Kyler, not drafted a quarterback. Justin Herbert got a quarterback, not drafting him. The
Right.
Giants are interesting. I don't think they go JJ McCarthy though. I think they're a team to trade up and draft Jaden Daniels. I think they're one of those teams. I don't see JJ McCarthy going there. Titans got Will Levis, which I think they're going to go another year on. I think that was a big part of why Brian Callahan went there. The Falcons, maybe, but they just got Kirk Cousins. But they could.
They just signed Kirk. They just signed Kirk. They're not
I
gonna.
I see the value though in drafting someone and like because Kirk's 34, coming off a torn Achilles. I see the idea right of like they did not fully guarantee his contract like all his other ones. It's only 2 years of it guaranteed. I could see them drafting JJ McCarthy and developing him, but 8's too rich for me. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's an 8th overall pick. Who's number 9?
I mean, if you believe all of the media, then JJ McCarthy's like a huge like he's the Zach Wilson.
No,
this year's draft.
See, they're not similar at all though, because it was Zach Wilson wasn't good in college, had one good pro day, and jumped to number 2. I remember that draft. I remember it happening. I remember saying what is going on. Like I remember that happening. I could probably go back to old videos and be like, what are we doing? He is not the 2nd overall pick. I said Justin Fields was the 2nd overall pick, and I stand by that. I think he's the 2nd best quarterback in that class still to this day. And I think he was the only one worthy of a 2nd overall pick after Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
So I still stand.
None of them have been super impressive.
No. But of that group, I said, why is Justin going not number 2? And then they go Trey Lance 3. I thought that was the dumbest thing that happened, and I remember when that draft happened. So I don't think JJ McCarthy is that, but I understand why people are saying that because he has the big arm. If anyone wants to see his big arm, watch the Ohio State Michigan game. Watch that big game this past season. JJ McCarthy made a lot of really good throws, and he can throw off the run, which is most important. He has really good accuracy. I've done so many of these videos. I think he had like a 90% adjusted completion percentage.
Sorry, Allie's giving me dinner, and she made a sign of opening like that, and she brought me cayenne pepper.
What?
I just texted her. I texted her, "Why did you bring me this?" And she's like, "That's what you asked for." I'm like, no, this is the universal side for soda.
And I put it down so I could flip my burger, and then I handed. I'm sorry.
Sorry, we're doing this right as I'm eating dinner.
You're
so.
fine. I haven't eaten, so. But no, you're fine. But no, I think JJ McCarthy is better than Zach Wilson, but I don't think he's better than Jaden Daniels, then Drake May. He's the 4th quarterback, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
there's no issue.
I feel like it's very obviously Caleb, Drake May, Jaden. I think they're interchangeable. I think that, it's depending on your scheme fit, depending on who you like more, even just as a person, they could be interchangeable.
Like who? Are you saying Drake and Jaden or
like Drake and Jaden?
Okay, yeah. I say because Caleb is head and shoulders above, might be one of the best quarterback prospects of the last 15 years. Just straight up.
Right.
Like Trevor Lawrence was good coming out of college. Caleb Williams, I would probably take over rookie Trevor Lawrence, and we've seen that now. Trevor Lawrence just has not been what we thought he was going to be.
Right. Yeah, he has flashes of good.
Yep, but it's not consistent.
Yeah, and this year he had some of his best weapons, but couldn't really do anything with it.
Nope. But
and people brush over the fact of he had all those interceptions in the playoff game, but he won. It's like, well, yeah, but he also
it was his defense
had all
that
those
won.
Interceptions in the first half.
Yeah, it was his defense
and
that won.
It was more a statement on the Chargers' inability to finish than it is his ability to overcome.
Yeah, the fact that Brandon Staley lasted past that game, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe that they let him stay. Like they should have. I can't believe it. But again,
how he didn't walk home is insane.
It all worked out in the end. I think they got a better coach this offseason. I'm excited to see what Harbaugh can do. I don't think I actually was gonna do a video about this, but I never actually did. The fact that Harbaugh left the NFL it's criminal. He had 49 wins to 13 or what was it? 49 wins to 20 losses. Jim Harbaugh winning percentage. Because it was Yeah, he had a 70% winning percentage. It's .70.
Right.
Insane. Through his first 4 seasons, which he only lasted 4 or 5 seasons, like Jim Harbaugh, he has the highest NFL win-loss percentage of all active NFL coaches. That's 66 games. He has the highest winning percentage. The only reason he got out of the NFL was because of Trent Baalke, who's now the GM of the Jaguars. They disagreed, and Trent Baalke made him leave basically. And then Trent Baalke was fired a couple years later.
Wasn't he was Kaepernick was with
Yep,
him, right?
49ers. Yep, the 49ers.
Well, like, was he there during the whole?
Yes. There's
thing?
no. I believe that was Chip Kelly. So
That was the
Harbaugh.
coach after Harbaugh.
So Harbaugh went to the Super Bowl, lost, never coached another down. He went to the Super
Really?
Bowl and lost, and he wanted more
And then
control of
they
the
fired him.
roster. And Trent Baalke and him disagreed so much that he had to leave.
So he didn't get fired. He got fired. He didn't.
Yes, yeah, it was one of us are gonna go, and I'm not
mutually
leaving. Yeah,
Gotcha.
and he went to Michigan, obviously won a national championship, and now is back in the NFL.
Right.
But
For your viewers' purposes, I am super ignorant in terms of NFL history. I have only really been in the NFL for two. I just finished my second season.
yeah, you're
And
so
the only
baby.
reason I got into it was fantasy football.
Yep.
So everything is new to me.
Yeah, I mean, everyone starts somewhere. I don't like when people like you haven't watched it since you were from birth. That's the point of the game. It's supposed to grow. More people are supposed to get interested. Why is there it's such a weird gatekeeping culture? But that's it for the AFC East. That because the New York Jets have done nothing so far. They just re-signed people, and all of them,
We're gonna get Bakhtiari.
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen. Yeah, that'll
It's
happen.
a given,
Yeah, that's gonna happen eventually. Wow, that is so. I'm stuff is happening, and it's very sad. But now we're on to the AFC North. I can actually bring that up when we get to the Browns. But the Baltimore Ravens, they tagged originally, but they eventually extended Justin Madubuike, their star D tackle, to a 4-year, $100 million deal. I was terrified that Madubuike would come back to the Ravens because he is a force to be reckoned with at D tackle. I'm very upset that he signed an extension. He's very good. I'm just royally upset that Madubuike is staying.
Yeah, the Ravens retaining as much of their defense as they can, I feel like is essential for their ability to possibly go back to the chip because their defense is what's going to hold them. Because Lamar is very good. His receivers are still iffy, even after this year's overhaul of what was their rookie's name last year?
Kyle Hamilton?
The Ravens. No, the rookie receiver.
Oh, Zay Flowers.
Flowers is really good, but they're not going to re-sign Beckham Jr.
No.
Nelson Aguilar is
already re-signed.
But he's their Gabe Davis, where like he shows up and then for 4 weeks you hear nothing, and then he shows up again.
Well, yeah, he's 35 years old at this point.
Right.
It's impressive he's still in the league.
Right, and so you've got with Lamar, you've got to have running, you've got to have a defense, and so the Ravens keeping as much of their defense as they can is essential.
Yeah, and I want to bring something up is that I always do like mock drafts and I always do like sleepers that I really like every NFL draft cycle. The Ravens and the Steelers, I might be able to go through my last 2 drafts. Every single like gem I think that is going to be in the NFL draft, go to those 2 teams, and Justin Madubuike was one of them. And I'm very upset that I was right, he was good. I'm like, I hate it. Because last year was Keanu Benton, and the Steelers drafted him. Like, there's so many guys that I think are really good, and they always end up in the division. Every time that I watch them.
On your team.
Yes, and they're never on the Browns. I can't remember who Kobe Turner last year is on the Rams.
Draft picks.
I mean, they're all late round. The whole point is that they're hidden gems. They're hidden gems.
Right.
Last year Steelers took like 8 of them. 2023 draft class. They took Broderick Jones at tackle. I had him as a top 10 pick. Darnell Washington, Nick Herbig, Keanu Benton, Joey Porter. All of them were I had as really high draft picks. Of course, they took all of them. And the Ravens, it was 2022, the Ravens. That's where they drafted David Njoku. Or whatever his name is. David, whatever his name is. I can't remember his name is. David Ajabo, Travis Jones, Daniel Falele, Jalen Armour-Davis, Jordan Stout, Isaiah Likely, Tyler Batty. All of them I had as like top 3 round picks. And all of them came in the 4th round or later for the Ravens. So I remember, that's in my memory that every time I do gems, I know one of these teams are going to take them. That's very upsetting.
Because they watch your content, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, the Ravens. If you need a draft analysis, I'll happily sign on and choose the wrong guys for you. Listen, I really am a big fan of Bo Nix. Okay, Bo Nix is the guy you want leading your franchise. Absolutely.
Right, screw Lamar.
Yeah,
Bo Nix.
Lamar can't throw. Lamar is just a running back. We're going back to 2018 hater. So.
That's still the haters. What are you talking about?
I mean, no, I think this year it's officially proved them wrong. I don't think there's any like.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way of them saying, because he's now had 3 years in a row of really good throwing.
Yeah.
But
there's something about Flacco.
something about him. God, I love him. The Bengals. Yikes. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a yikes. They tagged T. Higgins, who then immediately requests a trade. Yikes.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Which is very upsetting for them. Cool for me. Don't care. Hope he's out of the division. I hope he goes to an NFC team. I don't even want him in the conference, because I think T. Higgins is a guy who can be a wide receiver 1 Pro Bowler. He is that good.
Any other team, he's number 1.
Yeah, he had a down year. He had a horrible year, in my opinion. I think it was horrible. The
Bengals had a horrible year.
But Jamar Chase thrived. That's the thing. Like, Jamar Chase still had really good yardage, really good games. I feel like T. Higgins just didn't get thrown to because he was constantly being covered. And there is part of that is that it's not as good quarterback play. But Jamar Chase got open, and he got the ball. Drew Sample, who got re-signed, got the ball.
Right.
Like, what's going on with T. Higgins? You know, I think he's had a couple of years of declining, but I still think he's a wide receiver 1 in most teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if he goes to the Panthers, he'll have a massive year.
The Panthers, I don't know about that.
They need it, man. They need it.
Still Panthers. Oh, they need weapons, but the Panthers are still gonna Panther.
I say the Panthers because I think Dave Canales could really use a T. Higgins like Mike Evans receiver. Big body, good route runner.
Yeah.
I think him and Mike Evans have a lot in common.
And we really got to see. We got to see how.
Oh, we froze.
The other quarterback.
Hello? You froze.
What they won? All right. Am I back?
Yeah, you're good.
What's their quarterback's name?
Joe Burrow?
No, the
Will Levis. Oh no, Bryce Young.
Young. Until you see that Bryce Young is capable in the NFL, I don't think that any receiver, I don't think he's the one who's throwing the ball. A receiver can get open all day long if he wants, but if the quarterback can't see over the offensive line to throw the ball, then
listen, Russ and Drew Brees did it for years. Baker's doing it. I don't think height matters. The issue is that you had bad play calling, bad offensive line play. That's all it was. Like, I like Frank Reich as an offensive coordinator, but as a head coach, everywhere he's gone, the offensive line has declined every year. Like, the Colts, when he first got there, had a really good year the first year, and every year after regressed. And then he didn't have a good offensive line to even begin with in the Carolina. So I don't know if it's him or if it's a guy he hires, but it's just, I don't know. I think he's a good offensive coordinator, not a good head coach. But moving on for the Bengals, all we had, just T. Higgins. Nothing else really has happened for them yet. For the Cleveland Browns, I'm going to start with the bad news bears first. News just released that Sione Takitaki will not be returning to the Browns, signed to the New England Patriots. Hurts my soul. There's now only 2 Browns defensive starters who remain from our first playoff appearance in 2020. Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. That hurts. That hurts, man. I love Sione Takitaki. He was one of the best run defending linebackers in the NFL, man. It sucks. But hopefully he goes to the New England Patriots and balls out, becomes a Pro Bowler. But that sucks.
Yeah.
But in the missing of Sione Takitaki, we then signed Jordan Hicks to a 2-year deal. I believe he was previously on the Arizona Cardinals. No, the Vikings. He was on the Vikings last year. But I'm excited for that. He's a pretty good coverage linebacker. He's had almost 400 tackles the last 3 years alone. That's super exciting because I feel like we really suck at run defending, and he's pretty good at run defending. But it's a little sad about Sione Takitaki, but I mean that's what happens when you're a team that doesn't have a bunch of cap space. You gotta be cheap in certain areas.
Yeah.
Not everyone can have
Especially when you gotta.
a what?
Not everyone can have really. No, especially when you're a team that pays a quarterback all this huge money
No,
against
you.
your cap.
The thing
You know,
is, it's not that the main issue is we don't really have obviously we don't have first round picks. That hasn't been an issue for Andrew Berry. Probably one of the, in my opinion, him and the Kansas City Chiefs are some of the best late round drafters, and the Rams. The Rams have been pretty good the last couple of years. But when it comes to like 4th, 5th, 6th round picks, I don't think anyone is better than Andrew Berry or the Kansas City Chiefs, Brett Veach. I just don't. I like almost half their starters are late round picks, which I think is incredibly impressive. When you're both teams going for the Super Bowl and most of your picks are in the late rounds, like that's super impressive to me. Obviously the Chiefs more than the Browns. Obviously, like they've won 3 Super Bowls in the last 4 years.
Yeah,
but
they've won.
But to remain competitive like the Browns have and still not have first
Right.
round picks for 4 years and to have basically an anchor at quarterback, not even the contract, it's an anchor in general when it comes to play. He's had good games, had bad games, but hopefully next season can be better. But I'm not expecting anything big. But Jerry Jeudy got traded as well to the Cleveland Browns. That's exciting. I'm very excited about that. Big body, good route runner. Can be basically Amari Cooper light, like a B- version of Amari Cooper, next to Amari Cooper. And apparently Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy have actually been really good friends for the last couple of years because they're both from Alabama, both from South Florida, both played basically the same exact role in the offense. Apparently they're really good friends, which I'm really excited about.
Okay.
And all I had to give up
Yeah,
was 5th and the 6th round pick.
Judy's. He's been
You're breaking up
good.
again.
Right. Yeah. Judy's good. I just turned off my.
Oh.
I took this disconnect from my phone.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello.
Yep.
Am I back?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Judy's been good with the Broncos. I think that he suffered from more from Russ's situation than he suffered from his inability. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello.
Yep. I can hear you.
Okay. I think I have a big delay. He suffered more from Russ's play style than he did from like his inability to do stuff because Russ is either a deep passer or he's a check down, and Judy's a route running in the middle, similar to like Amon Ra. He can win when he gets it, but how often is he getting it with Russ?
Mm-hmm.
Russ's big guy was like Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, I was when the rumors first, because we've been trying to acquire either Cortland or Jerry. Like we've been calling the Broncos for at least a year, at minimum a year. I know last offseason it was like, okay, we got Amari Cooper. What's this year's trade gonna be? And the rumors were Jerry Jeudy mostly, but then we also called about Cortland Sutton. Nothing happened. Trade deadline comes around. Exact same rumors. They want a big body wide receiver. It's either Cortland Sutton or it's Jerry Jeudy. And then obviously this offseason rolls around, both of them on the trade block again. Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy. And every reporter was saying, it's one of them. Which one would you rather have? And I would have rather had Cortland Sutton, but he was more expensive.
Yeah.
Like you would have had to give up probably a 4th round pick and pay his contract. I'm cool with 1 year of Jerry Jeudy, to try and win a Super Bowl this year.
Yeah. Right.
Because I don't think it seems like the Browns are all in on this year. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, don't be shocked when DJ Reader gets signed. There's a lot of smoke in that camp. One of the best run defending D tackles in the NFL. He's aged now. He's like 32, I think. But when he's healthy, is one of the best defensive tackles when it comes to run defending. And it's been very heavily smoke ridden that he wants to come to Cleveland Cleveland wants him. It's just the issue of money. And I
Right.
don't know what's gonna happen, but I think that I'd rather have the idea of improving the defensive line and have a cheap Jerry Judy than a for sure thing in Cortland Sutton and letting the defensive line go to rookies.
Right.
But then we re-signed
Yeah, I
Zadarius
mean
Smith. Oh, sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, I was gonna say, and then you guys re-signed Zadarius Smith, so
Yep.
he's gonna be able to hold it down.
Big Z coming back, and we re-signed Mo Hurst, who was a big rotation D tackle for us last year. Apparently Shelby Harris as well is remaining in contact with the Browns, but again, a lot of those 32, 33, 34-year-old veterans wait till closer to the NFL season to sign. But apparently the Browns
Right.
will keep like about $3 million in cap space open, knowing that Shelby Harris will be coming back. So I'm excited for that as well. It's not guaranteed, obviously, because another team could swoop in with a bigger deal. But if all
Right.
goes as the plan, apparently the Browns will keep $3 million open, knowing Shelby Harris is coming back, probably in June or July, closer to the season. And then same thing. There's a lot of rumors about like Christian Wilkins coming. A lot of rumors about maybe Danielle Hunter coming as well. But again, like I said with the Dolphins, I would rather have multiple players who can play a lot than one player and have a bunch of rookies surrounding them.
Right. Yeah, because linemen are hard to have hit with rookies. Like they're developmental
Yes.
more so.
Yeah, if they're not first round picks, it's very hard to get them to play year one because you have veterans that are sure things.
Right.
But this is a like
even on cheap 1-year deals.
Yeah, that's why the Jerry Judy trade I got no issue. I was actually talking to one of my managers today. He's a Bills fan, and I was talking to him about the Jerry Judy trade. He goes, you guys traded 2 picks for a question mark at wide receiver. What you think about that? And I told him, excuse me, with NIL, when it comes to like people can pay you to play in college now, this is apparently one of the smallest draft classes in the last 15 years. Less people are going to the drafts because they're getting paid to stay in college. Like, why would you go when you're already getting money? Which was going to be a side effect, which I'm fine with. No issue with that.
Right.
But already that means that teams like the Browns, teams that I'm gonna say the Bills as well. Don't be shocked when you see a lot of these late round draft picks get traded for 1-year, 2-year deals because like, well, it's a small class. We're trying to win a Super Bowl right now. Is a 6th round pick even gonna make the team?
Right.
Like, cool. You drafted a 6th round project
pick.
pick.
Be your 3rd stringer.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, are they even gonna make they could be on your practice squad? Cool. Are they even gonna make the 53-man roster? Like, we're already gotta trim a lot of really good talent.
Right.
Because I saw that the Lions re-signed Emmanuel Mosley, the corner, which I like Emmanuel Mosley. I actually had them re-signing him in my offseason plan. But he could be a roster cut because tore ACL 2 years in a row, but he's a veteran.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a tough cut. Is a 6th round rookie really gonna make the Lions? No, they're not. So like I just don't see the issue with trading these late round draft picks because guess what? The people that are actually gonna start are 2nd, 3rd round, 4th round guys. Those guys are actually make the team. No one in the 5th and 6th game is gonna make the team.
Right. Yeah.
So I
even other than like you've got the Chiefs who like had
well, that's the issue is that their top end guys make so much money. You have to use the late round picks.
Yeah, you've got to use all of them.
Otherwise, you can't field a 53-man roster.
Yeah, yeah. Especially now with the Chris Jones
5 for 150.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember when they won their first Super Bowl. I'm a big fan of how you want to win build your team. You got a quarterback, you got a wide receiver / tight end, whatever one you like, a number 1 option. You want 2 or 3 really good offensive linemen, 1 D tackle, 1 linebacker, 1 secondary. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 7 or 8 players on big deals. 1 at each level of your team, and fill the rest out with veterans and rookie contracts. That's what they've done. They got.
Yeah.
I mean, L'Jarius Sneed is on a deal with. We might get traded, maybe, but you got.
He's getting traded.
Yeah, I don't see him playing on a franchise tag. I don't see it happening. I think they're just trying to find the right deal. But
he can make so much money because he's been such a huge part of their winning those 2 Super Bowls on the defensive back end.
Yeah.
That he's gone. They put a franchise tag. They put the tag on him just so that they can guarantee they'll get draft picks for him.
Mm-hmm.
But there's rumors that the Lions are going to go for him hard. They've been one of the people to call a lot about him. Like that's been a rumor like since it was announced. Hey, you can seek a trade. The Lions were immediately like, oh, they're on the list.
Well, because they
Board of offers.
that
So
was a
I would
really
not
only
be
big
surprised
issue
if
for their defense.
yeah, because the Lions they would suck for 65 yards of the field, but then once you get in the red zone, there's not a huge secondary gap. So your D line and then your all of your secondary is just smashed in 20 yards as opposed to trying to cover 40 yards. So like their secondary was you know crap, but having like a Snead be able to lock down a number one receiver. Uh, my wife and I we went to the last Lions game of the season, the last home game, where Justin Jefferson had this huge catch, and it's like, well, that's what's going to cost us the playoff run is big catches in the secondary that are going to get ran for touchdowns. I saw it. Like I told her when we were on the way, it's like you got to watch out for number one receivers who are going to be deep threats, and it's exactly what the problem is.
Yeah, because you guys got the run defense down. It's just now you get the pass defense down, which isn't the worst issue. Like the fact you got one part down, it's just now solving the next part in the draft and free agency.
Right.
Moving on to the AFC South, because again the Steelers have only signed Russell Wilson. I don't see that as a big signing, but cool. They're gonna win 8-9 games. Cool.
Yeah.
Like I just don't think it's a big signing.
Do their thing.
AFC South. Houston.
I think it's a better fit for Russ than the Broncos.
Yeah, for sure.
I think he's going to be better in Pittsburgh, but
unironically, I think it's the exact same system though. Like
be anything crazy.
I think it's the exact same like weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, you have fine wide receivers, you have a fine offensive line, you have okay to good running backs. It's the exact same situation with a better defense. Well, even then, it's like better defensive pieces, not even better defense in general. Like I just don't see the Steelers. Like the Steelers need to blow it up. I've been saying this the last 2 years. The Steelers need to be like, you know what, Mike Tomlin, we love you, we really do, but we just gotta move on. Like nothing against, not even against him.
Well, he's on the last year of his contract, isn't he?
I think so.
Last year in his contract.
I believe so. I believe he is.
Yeah, if this is the last year, I don't expect that they're going to re-sign him or extend him. I think this is going to be hey, you've got to get far in the playoffs, otherwise we're going to.
It's not even about that though. Like it's not even about like he's not successful in the playoffs recently. It's just like their roster's ready to move on. Like it's ready to move on. Like cool. Mm-hmm. You got Joey Porter. You got T.J. Watt. You got Alex Highsmith. That's it on defense. That's all you got. Minkah Fitzpatrick is not as good anymore as he once was. You got 3 players on defense that are good. Offense. What you got on offense? A bunch of mid. It's a bunch of mid. Mid.
Yeah, Pickens.
Mid.
Really?
Mid. I liked Pickens coming out of college. He doesn't get the ball enough. He doesn't get the ball enough. Yeah. Which maybe that changed this year.
Quarterback play though. I think that's quarterback play.
But they're scheming it like that. That's the thing. They drafted the quarterback. That's their fault. They got a clear house.
Yes. Yeah. They fired the offensive coordinator. I think that it's Alex Smith who's over there now, right?
Arthur Smith.
Arthur Smith. I think that if we get Atlanta Arthur Smith, they're going to use their third string wide receiver more than Pickens because he's going to try and be tricky. If you get Titans Arthur Smith, then you might have something where they'll start to utilize Pickens more. But we'll see.
Yeah. But AFC North, that's it. Apparently the Browns are going after Jameis Winston. Yikes. But anyway, AFC South. Houston Texans, Dalton Schultz re-signed to a 3-year deal. That's perfect. That's a great fit for Dalton Schultz. I mean the fact that he was able to come in and provide basically a safety blanket to CJ Stroud. They also re-signed they just re-signed Noah Brown, their deep threat wide receiver. Again, makes sense. Yeah, they did. I thought they might draft someone. Because I don't think John Mechie's really developed as hope. Like, he had cancer. Makes sense. He had to take a year off football. Okay. But I just don't think that John Mechie's really developed the way they wanted him to. I still think they could take a rookie wide receiver in like early, to add more firepower. I think losing Saquon hurt though. I think not getting Saquon really hurt them
Right.
because it was
Who did
never
they-
Philadelphia.
Didn't they sign a running back, or have they not signed one
No,
yet?
they haven't signed anyone yet because it was Saquon or
Okay.
bust apparently.
Okay. Wow.
They still have what's his name? Texans running back. They still have
Dameon Pierce.
who I'm a big fan of. But Devin Singletary, he left. I like Dameon Pierce. I was shocked they moved on from him so quickly. He's still on the roster, but he's not the starter, obviously. I was
Right.
shocked. I thought he ran really well his 1 year. But
Right.
maybe they'll draft someone like a Jonathan Brooks, who was from Texas. Maybe a Bucky Irving from Oregon. Maybe a Blake Corum from Michigan. I just really thought they were going to go after a big name to help this offense win right now.
Yeah. I think Blake Corum would be a good fit because he's a the few Michigan games that I watched. I'm not a big college watcher.
No,
but the few
neither am
games
I.
that I watched, he was like obviously the bell cow, but he was what the offense centered around. I wouldn't be shocked if the Texans used their first round on him.
There's no way. You can't value running back that highly anymore. Because again, like there's
I mean,
so
Gibbs
yeah. Again,
worked
I
out
just
really well.
I wouldn't have drafted him that high. Which again, happy it worked out. Good.
Right.
I would not value because they're gonna have. They have the Browns pick and their own pick, both in the 20s. I see defense. I've been mocking
They
defense.
traded the Browns pick.
The first
The
round
Browns
pick.
pick is
For Will Anderson.
remember?
Yeah, for Will Anderson.
Yeah.
But they still have their own first round pick then.
Right.
I just don't see them going after a running back in the first round. Maybe in the second. Maybe they trade back and at like a 32 draft a running back. I just don't see them in the 20s drafting a running back when they have so many holes on defense still. Now they did sign 5 defensive guys so far. Defensive lineman Denico Autry, Azeez Al-Shaair, who I'm a really big fan of, was with the 49ers, went to the Panthers last year, finally gets a big time deal with the Houston Texans. I've been a big fan of Azeez for a couple of years now. Jeff Okudah, former Lion, 1 year, $6 million. They have a lot of defensive signings, but I think they need to get younger and they need to get more talented at defensive line. They have Will Anderson, and that's really it when it comes to like young talent on the defensive line.
Yeah.
I think that I keep saying they should go defensive lineman. Whether it's a D tackle, maybe it's Byron Murphy, Jazon Newton, like whoever it is at D tackle. I think they need to go D tackle.
Is Will Anderson their pass rusher?
Yeah, he's their
Okay.
3-4 outside linebacker.
Okay.
But Texans overall, they've had a good offseason so far. Adding a lot of talent on defense, retaining Dalton Schultz is key. I think that's really big for them.
Yeah. And they'll have not Tank Bigsby.
Tank Dell.
Tank Dell. They'll have him come back next year, and signing Noah Brown is good because they'll have Nico, they'll have Noah, they'll have Tank. Their receiving room is going to stay the same. Keeping Dalton Schultz is going to be good. I think if they get a wide receiver, they get a running back, their offense is going to sing.
Yeah. Indianapolis Colts, haven't done much. They've just re-signed their own guys. Michael Pittman, obviously the biggest one, 3 years, $70 million. That's what, $23 million a year. About what I thought he'd make. I thought he could have gotten more in the open market, but maybe he just wanted to stay in Indianapolis and didn't even like listen.
Well, they tagged him.
Yeah, they did tag him. But he could have
tagged, and then he got signed.
Yeah, and he might have been like,
Because
I'll just take whatever you offer me because I think he wanted to stay in Indianapolis.
I think he wanted to stay, but also if you look at last year, what happened with Jonathan Taylor, they tagged him. He didn't sign the tag. They figured out ways to make it so that he would eventually just stay. So he may have just said, "Screw it, just give me what you're going to give me." You know.
Which again, $70 million is still cool. $46 million guaranteed. Like $46 million guaranteed, probably in the first 2 years. $23 million. Yeah, so his first 2 years are fully guaranteed. Which ain't bad at all. Then they re-signed Tyquan Lewis and they re-signed DeForest Buckner. Grover Stewart. So they re-signed. They honestly have not signed any outside free agents. They just re-signed all their defensive people. Zaire Franklin got an extension. At one point was leading the league in tackles before he got hurt. I think he had 100 something. Zaire Franklin. I think he had like 140, 150 this past season.
Mhm.
Yeah, he did lead the league. He did lead the league. So he led the league in tackles this past season. Awesome. 178 tackles.
That's crazy.
Yeah. 178 tackles by Zaire Franklin. So no duh. That's no duh. You're gonna re-sign him. Taekwon Lewis is a quality veteran rotation guy at defensive line. Then you re-sign Grover Stewart, have him and DeForest Buckner maintain that defensive tackle room. The Colts are I like the Colts. I think the Colts are really close. I think them and the Houston Texans are very clearly the best AFC South teams by far.
Yeah.
I'm shocked how much of a step back in my mind the Jaguars have taken. Like I just don't see them as a competitor anymore in this division.
No, no. Last year was the year for them to prove it. They were the new, the AFC South runs through here, and then they got busted out hard. And the final game of the year uh mattered for two other teams in their division, and it
Yeah.
didn't matter for
Yep.
them. You know.
Yeah, I'm very much shocked about the step back that Trevor Lawrence has taken. I don't think he signed an extension, I believe. I believe he signed an
No,
extension.
he hasn't yet. No,
Are,
he
are you
hasn't.
sure?
They traded for Mac Jones.
No, he's not. He's not.
No, I know he's not going to be the replacement. They did not give him an extension yet.
So that's
I don't think they will. I don't think
that's
they
what I
will.
was gonna say. It doesn't happen often, obviously, that a quarterback does not like a first round quarterback who has shown potential has not gotten a second deal with the team that drafted him. I'm trying to think. Wasn't there someone in this draft class? I mean, in this free agency that I was gonna make a video on this, but I never actually did. Spot rack quarterback. Who am I thinking of? It was someone that I'm like, I wouldn't be shocked if they hit free agency. Quarterback. Was it Kirk? Maybe it was Kirk Cousins. There was someone I can't remember who. I said I wouldn't like. Maybe it's next year. I don't know who it is. I feel really dumb. But you don't see it often that young quarterbacks hit free agency, especially ones that have been drafted that high. Maybe it was Trevor Lawrence. It might have just been Trevor Lawrence. Oh, it was Tua. Maybe I think it was Tua. Or did Tua
He
sign?
hasn't signed yet.
Maybe it's Tua. It's Tua I'm thinking of. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. It doesn't happen often, obviously, because you want to keep quarterbacks even if they have potential and they've shown that it's aren't up to snuff.
Right.
Maybe they do let Trevor walk. Maybe they tag and trade him. I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't know. I think they're gonna they're gonna pick up his 5th year.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh,
I
it's
think
Baker. It's Baker. I was thinking of Baker. Like Baker's the last guy I can think of that got drafted by a team and didn't get signed to his second contract by a team that drafted him. That was a big he still played well but didn't last. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Trevor Lawrence is the next guy.
I think they're gonna pick up the 5th year. I think they're gonna see what happens this year, and if not, then yeah, I think they trade him.
Because here's his stats so far. He has thrown more than 21 touchdowns once. His first season was with Brian with oh my god. I can't remember I can't remember the college head coach that was their head coach. But he threw 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions his rookie year. 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last year, which was 2022, which was like, okay, I gotta take the next step this following year. He then threw 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions last year.
Yeah.
Just not good.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked if they pick up his 5th year option, see what happens, play out his contract. But if he doesn't play well this upcoming season, they might draft a quarterback and just cut him or try and trade him like they're doing with Justin Fields right now.
I think that they gotta win the division. I don't even think it's that they gotta do good. I think if they don't win the division, he's out.
Which is crazy because again, he was the highest touted draft pick since Andrew Luck. Yeah, it's crazy that Trevor Lawrence. I'm having a conversation that do they let Trevor Lawrence walk 3 years into his career so far?
Well, I was watching a clip of First Things First, and they compared Mac Jones to Trevor Lawrence, and there isn't a huge difference in the stats between the two. Like, yeah, one's way uglier. One's gameplay is way uglier, and you can blame Trevor Lawrence's rookie year for a lot of it, and you can blame Mac Jones's rookie year for a lot of his success. But the facts don't lie, which is their stats are strangely close for all of the hype that goes behind Trevor and all the hate that gets piled on Mac.
Yeah, which is very upsetting. That because I mean I don't root for guys to fail. I want everyone to succeed. The issue is that not everyone can succeed. Otherwise,
Right.
no draft pick is a bust, and your team has to have $1 bajillion in cap space.
Right.
But they also they went on a spending spree. So they traded for and then they extended Ezra Cleveland in the season. Got extension this offseason. They tagged Josh Allen. They signed Darnell Savage. They signed Mitch Morse. And they signed Gabe Davis. To me, it seems like they're trying to overcorrect the issue of our team sucked last year when it comes to expectations. Let's now try and overhaul a couple of areas. Darnell Savage is a good pickup, in my opinion. Quality safety from the Packers. Has been bad the last couple of years, but I still think he's a quality safety. Mitch Morse, top 15 center in football, probably, but still not like someone that I would have signed personally. Ezra Cleveland, I love Ezra Cleveland. I'm shocked that he got traded. Gabe Davis, woof. $13 million dollars, not bad though. That's not bad value.
Yeah, but I don't think the Jags are a Gabe Davis away. You know.
No, but when you put it into perspective that Juju Smith-Schuster also is being paid $13 million, Gabe Davis is better than Juju right at this point.
Right.
And same with Jacoby Myers with the Raiders. He's also making $39 million over 3 years. That's a great value for the Jaguars because Gabe Davis has the upside of 1,000 yards in a season and 10 touchdowns, but he just hasn't hit that like consistency yet. And for a team that needs consistency, I don't think Gabe Davis was the best fit for them.
No.
I was rooting for them to actually go after T. Higgins. That's what I said. Why not just pair up? Like they were college teammates. Pair up T. Higgins and Trevor Lawrence. Why would you not just make that trade? Like swap Josh Allen for T. Higgins. Just do a straight up swap. Maybe add some draft picks to both teams.
Right.
But like you tag Josh Allen, he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to play for Jacksonville. So swap T. Higgins, and T. Higgins then goes with his college quarterback and Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
I just never understood why that wasn't even thought of on the table. And it might still happen. Again, both guys are tagged, both asking to be traded. So it could happen. But that's what I would have done if I was either one of them. It's like, well, we both have something that the other wants. Both guys don't want to play for the team. The tag is both $24 million. Let's just make the swap.
Right.
Then for the Tennessee Titans, not much. Tony Pollard, 3 for 24. Lloyd Cushenberry, 4 for 50. The Broncos' former center. Lloyd Cushenberry is pretty good. He's been pretty underrated the last couple of years. Tony Pollard, fine signing. Derrick Henry's obviously gone.
Yeah.
End of an era, sadly.
It's a pretty big downgrade from Derrick Henry to Tony Pollard.
Yeah. Which
especially for a Will Levis having a second year quarterback who needs a strong run game. Like Tony Pollard proved last year that he's not a bell cow.
No.
So I think the Titans they're the assumed fourth in their division for the next couple years.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Will Levis is going to be their long-term solution.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
I think he'll probably have another year or two of okay play, and then they'll draft their franchise quarterback.
Yeah, he's going to be their, quote unquote bridge, even though he's not a vet.
Yeah. AFC West, the Denver Broncos, they also cut Justin Simmons, who I don't think has signed a deal yet, which is again another shocking that he hasn't signed a deal yet. But they re-signed PJ Locke and they signed Miami Dolphins Brandon Jones. So they have 2 quality safeties, probably for way cheaper than Justin Simmons was. But I think just cutting Justin Simmons was a bad move. I didn't like the move.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't watch a whole lot of Broncos games this year because it was painful to watch.
Yeah, shocker.
Yeah, but yeah, they're very much they've got to make lemonade out of lemons, and the lemons are spoiled. So you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, especially with that $87 million dead cap.
Whew. Yeah.
Kansas
envy
City
them.
Chiefs. Screw them. I hate them. I hope they lose every game this year. Re-sign Chris Jones 5 for 158. A lot of money, but makes
A lot of
sense.
them.
I mean, he's obviously the most important guy on their defense, so it makes sense that they would do it. It's just that's like 5 for 158 is it's crazy how far like paying players have gotten that a
Yeah.
defensive lineman makes $30 million a year.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Drew Tranquil.
Sneed's,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say Sneed's gonna get traded. We already talked about that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't imagine him staying.
If he does stay, he'll be a free agent next year. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
I don't.
they're not gonna give him anything major.
No, it
Not
will not.
paying the
There won't be a
tag.
long term deal. It will be a you either play in the tag and cool, and we try to three-peat, or we trade you for a draft pick.
Yeah.
Drew Tranquil is actually a quality linebacker. I was really hoping he'd go to the Browns. Really good linebacker. 3 years, $19 million. Formerly of the Chargers, went to the Chiefs. Played really well. I'm shocked at how well he played. I think this tells me that Willie Gay's not returning, and they're gonna rock with Drew Tranquil, Nick Bolton, and Leo Chenal. Because I thought Willie Gay played really well, but Drew Tranquil just went out of his mind this year. For the Chiefs.
Right.
But Willie Gay, wherever he lands, good luck, man. You got a fun name.
Yeah, they're gonna try and they gotta try and three-peat, so they're gonna do what they have to, but
Yeah.
no one's excited about it.
Nope. The Raiders. They've had a fun offseason. I like their offseason moves so far. Signing Christian Wilkins, 4 years, $110 million. Same thing. Yikes, man. That's a lot of money. I thought Christian Wilkins was at most $22 million a year. Probably more in that $20 million range. He's getting paid $27.5 million a year. Thank God the Browns didn't sign him, because that is too much money for Christian Wilkins.
Right.
They also signed Andre James, their center, 3 years, 24. Keep in-house talent. Gardner Minshew, 2 for 25. A lot of money for Gardner Minshew, but he might be their starter this year, so it makes a lot of sense.
Unless they draft somebody, he's gonna be the starter because Aiden O'Connell's not a. I don't think that he's a starter. If he is gonna be their starter, he's got to develop for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Because they won, but I think that the Raiders are taking the opposite approach at the AFC, where the AFC everybody's like, we got to get the quarterback, we got to get the high flying offense. They're like, screw that, we're gonna beat your offense up.
Yeah.
I
And I'm
think
excited for
that's
Max
the
Crosby and
approach
Christian
they're taking.
Wilkins.
Yeah, like Max Crosby just had an interview where he was saying that like I think they said like they have ill intent or something like that. Like they're using really aggressive language for talking about getting to quarterbacks. That's their strategy. They've got a
Yeah.
defensive head coach who is, pound the we're going to beat your mouth in, we're going to bloody you, yada yada, yada, all this stuff. I think that Gardner Minshew is going to be a great starter for them because he can hold it down.
Yep.
He obviously showed that in Indy last year. As long as their offense is okay, their defense is going to be monsters.
Yeah, I'm excited for the draft because it's now not horrible front office and head coach. They now have a competent front office and head coach. So I'm really excited to see what they do in the draft, because they went from a horrible front office to another horrible front office to now a pretty stable front office. So instead of just drafting horribly and guys that I wouldn't draft ever and just draft them in the first, second, third round, I'm excited to see what their strategy is when it comes to the draft this season.
Yeah, for sure.
Last team in the AFC before we take a break is going to be Gus Edwards going to the Chargers. Former running back of the Baltimore Ravens. Gus the Bus. Yeah, I'm shocked that he left the Ravens. I really thought he was a lifer for the Ravens.
Yeah, I think that he's going to be the starting running back. I think him and maybe they draft Blake Corum. Maybe Harbaugh brings his running back with him.
I said that if he would have gone to any other team that didn't have a quarterback, it would have been JJ McCarthy. I fully stood on that.
Yeah, 100%.
I still think
was because he loves not why am I blanking on his name? What's the quarterback?
JJ McCarthy.
No, the
Herbert.
Justin Herbert. There's so many J starting quarterbacks. Yeah, Justin Herbert. He espoused all of this great stuff about Justin Herbert unprompted before he was even leaving Michigan.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all that he's, that's who we went with, and good for him.
Yeah, if they can get Blake Corum, that'd be really good for him because he knows the system. Like
Yeah.
he knows Blake Corum. That'd be good for them if
Yeah.
they can get a Blake Corum.
Yeah.
But Gus the Bus again. I thought the life for the Ravens. It's just like Lamar and Gus have been friends since they were both drafted, and it's just, I really didn't think he was gonna leave. I thought that he was gonna be one of those guys that just sticks around randomly because the quarterback likes him. Kind of like what all the guys do with Aaron Rodgers. They just follow him. I didn't see him leaving the Ravens ever. Will Dissly signed a 3-year deal as well with the Chargers from the Seahawks. Solid. I think he tore his ACL, I think last year or the year before. In 2018, Will Dissly was that guy. He was really good. Honestly, this is before your time, Andrew, but I remember watching Will Dissly, and I'm like, whoa, okay, this guy's new. I think it was a former defensive lineman turned tight ends. It was an amazing blocker, solid receiver. Like Russ loves Will Dissly, and just the last couple of years fell off, tore his ACL, and it's never recovered. But the fact he get 3 for 14 because of his blocking prowess, good for him. I'm happy for Will Dissly.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, and then safety Alohi Gilman, they re-signed to the Chargers. I like Alohi Gilman. Another one of those guys I had a higher draft grade on than most back in 2020. I thought, pretty good coverage guy. Had some downside when it comes to run defending, but he's really turned into a really good safety. I believe he actually, let me check real quick. Alohi Gilman. I believe he was top 5 when it came to, where is it? I'm trying to remember where it was. He was top 5 when it came to like depth of tackle at safety. So he was tackling guys behind the line of scrimmage very consistently, and his depth of target was like top 5 in the league. So I'm a very big fan of Alohi Gilman. I think he's a good run defender, and the fact he's been able to turn that around in this game, very impressive for Alohi Gilman.
Yeah.
But we are going to take a break now. With the AFC done, is there anyone that any teams that you're like that you think in the AFC won or lost? Like who do you think is the biggest winner in the AFC and who the biggest loser is in the AFC?
I think, honestly, the biggest winners in the AFC, let me just go back through it. I think maybe the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Either the Texans or going over it. Yeah, I think it's the Texans.
Yeah, they're definitely up there for me.
I think they filled a lot of their holes in defense, or at least are attempting to. I think that they have the biggest. They obviously know what they need. I think it's between them and the Raiders, honestly, right now.
Yeah, the Raiders the Raiders have had a really good offseason. Again, this isn't even day one of this technically isn't even day one.
Yeah, we're not even done yet.
This is pre-8.
9 hours. We are 9 hours, and right now it's 9:40 Eastern. We are 9 hours and 40 minutes into the free agency period.
And there's so many guys that are still like starters and like impact players that are free agents. Yeah. And again, guys that could be traded. Josh Allen, L'Jarius Sneed. Like there's still guys in the AFC that I think could be traded tomorrow, traded tonight even. So I'm very excited what the AFC has given so far. Who's your biggest loser? It's easy for me.
I want to say the Chiefs just because I don't like the Chiefs.
No, it's not the Chiefs. They might be my biggest winner.
I think the Bills lost so many pieces on their defense. Just from they cut a lot of them. But I mean, right now I think the Jets. They didn't do anything.
They've done nothing.
They didn't do anything. Other than they re-signed Greg Zuerlein. Okay, cool.
Greg the Leg.
We didn't even talk about the Jets because it was like, okay.
Yeah, I said cool.
I think the Jets.
Okay, that's fair. My biggest winners, I might go with the Patriots. Not only did they finally move on from Bill Belichick, but I love their guys. They have an offensive and defensive coordinator, and they re-signed everyone that I would have re-signed. They re-signed Kendrick Bourne. They re-signed Hunter Henry. They re-signed Mike Onwenu. They tagged Kyle Duggar. Hopefully they extend him. They also brought in Chuks Okorafor as a potential starter at offensive tackle. I'm a big fan of Antonio Gibson. I thought he's had a really good career with the Washington Commanders. They might be one of my winners. The Texans got to be up there. Like they've just got to be up there. Yeah. They've killed it. The Colts, if they brought anyone who wasn't an internal extension, basically. Like, they've only re-signed their own guys. I don't think that's enough for them to get in the winners column. But they didn't lose anyone, which is also a dub. They didn't lose anyone.
Yeah. I think that when all is said and done, I think that our winners and losers are going to be very different than what we just said. I think.
Yeah, because it's gonna be like, again, for me, it's cool to see the impact guys, but I like to see, like, okay, you need a safety who does this specific thing. Who do you get for
Yeah.
how much?
Yeah.
My biggest loser is the Dolphins. I said it earlier. They again, I did not see a world where they didn't keep any of them. It's shocking at how little effort they put into retaining either their offensive line, which was dominant, or their defensive tackle, who was dominant. They let all three
Right.
go.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe they just didn't want to come back. It could have been as simple as, we want to go somewhere else for more money. Okay.
Right. Right.
But you didn't even re-sign one of the
Did
three guys?
Do they not have a lot of cap space?
It's not, again, like, they had enough to go. I'm trying to remember. I think it was like they had like 30 or 40 million in cap space, but you still want to sign your draft class and sign some free agents. So I said about 25 to 30 million dollars to re-sign guys. It was either 21 to 24 for Christian Wilkins or 19 million to re-sign your two offensive linemen. I chose the offensive lineman and let Christian Wilkins go. Initial reports were Christian Wilkins was leaving. Okay, cool. Let's re-sign the offensive line then, guys. Let them both walk. So what was the point? You lost all three guys that were crucial for your spectacular year, that were crucial for your number one offense, that were crucial for your number one run game, and it's let them go. So for me, they're the biggest losers so far in the AFC. We're moving on to the NFC now. Starting with the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys have signed
nobody.
No one. Literally no one. Literally no one has signed with the Dallas Cowboys. Someone on Twitter was tracking Jerry Jones' super yacht, and apparently it is on vacation. That is not a joke. I might even find the tweet and put it up on screen. They literally are not in the country. Jerry Jones' super yacht. Whether he's on the super yacht or not, doesn't matter. It's funny that we can track it, and he is not in the country.
Wild.
We're all in 2024, by the way. We're all in. That is hilarious. That's horrible. If I was a Cowboys player, I'd be done. I would not want to, like, I'd be done.
What a joke of a franchise, dude.
Yeah, like you're trying to win a Super Bowl here, and literally no one has been signed.
They're the epitome of stuck in the past franchise that has nothing going for it other than its name. Like,
yep,
they are quote unquote America's team, but they haven't done jack squat since the 90s, and they just keep coasting on that, saying, "Oh, we're the Cowboys. We're the Cowboys." Like, yeah, you're the Cowboys. You are all talk, and then you're a first or second round exit.
Yep.
Like, big whoop.
Yeah, I just don't. You trade Amari Cooper, you cut Ezekiel Elliott, so you can keep adding talent to the team, but then you don't add talent. Like,
right.
What's the point? I understand you have to pay CeeDee Lamb eventually. You have to pay Dak Prescott another contract. You already paid Trey Diggs. That's it. Micah Parsons. You have 4 players that are worthy of an extension. The Chiefs are making it work. And they have even better players who are being paid even more money. So
but they gave the 5th-year option for Parsons at a different position, so they don't have to pay him as much.
That's what I'm saying. Like, where's all the money being tied up at? Is it spread across the team at just different positions? Like, I guess DeMarcus Lawrence is on a lot of money. Do we got to cut DeMarcus Lawrence then?
It's because they retain their people and pay them too much. Like, Dak's hit this year is like 60 million or something like that.
Yeah, that's because they keep pushing it back.
Yeah, and this is the last year of it.
Yeah, they should have already extended him. They should have already extended him. I'm saying, but if they're gonna eventually keep pushing the money back, that means that's a player that you plan on having in 2 years. That's why I keep saying in all my videos is if I'm gonna restructure a player, I see them on my team in at least 2 years, so I can spread the money out for the next 2 years. They kept restructuring Dak knowing they weren't gonna keep him. That's their fault.
Yeah.
It's like they don't know what restructuring the downside of restructuring is. I don't understand.
Yeah. No, the Cowboys are a joke franchise. Like I'm not a fan of the Cowboys at all. Like I am a not just because of the Week 17 game this year, but just like in general, it just bugs me all of the like confidence that they exude when they dominate in the regular season. This year is a perfect example of they beat up on the lesser teams, and then when they hit a real team, they got issues.
Yep.
Like it is what it is, man.
Yep.
It's insane.
Yeah.
The
I can't believe that literally no move has been made. Like whether it's re-signing your own guys the Colts have, or
yeah
getting a whole new team like the Jaguars. The fact that nothing's been done is embarrassing.
yeah
But maybe in the next couple of days they decide to start signing people. But they're gonna have they're already behind. They're just behind on the top end free agents. Maybe that's not what they want to do. Maybe they want to fill the roster out with like the mid guys and just plan on their stars carrying them. But no one's been signed, so we'll move on. The New York Giants obviously lost Saquon Barkley, but they replaced him with Devin Singletary, which isn't the worst option. Jermaine Illuminor, John Runyon, and they trade for Brian Burns. And he actually agreed to a 5-year deal worth 150, so a massive deal for Brian Burns. They
yeah.
recently,
That's the biggest signing for them.
yeah, massive sign. That's I mean I love Brian Burns. I think he's one of my favorite pass rushers. His pressure rate's always been really good. If he was on any team that wasn't the Panthers, he'd be probably one of the best pass rushers in the league, and he'd get all the like the film coverage and all of the media coverage. Sadly, he's going to probably an exact level of bad defense with the New York Giants. But John Runyon and Jermaine Luminor, I was really big on in the free agency period. They got both my deep potential starting to offensive linemen. Devin Singletary had a great year with the Texans. So far, not horrible. I mean, I didn't think they were going to bring back Saquon, but it still sucks you have to lose him to the Eagles.
Yeah, losing to the Eagles is the biggest. Like, oh my gosh, in division. I saw this thing where a former Giants player was like, "You're dead to us." That whole thing. Like, okay,
Yeah, Tiki Barber.
yeah, yeah. Like Saquon, there was a burnt bridge with the whole offseason last year. Like he came back this year because they're like, "Oh, we'll play the tag, but if we're good, then we'll give you more money," knowing full well that they're not good.
And he was like 80% of their yards this season.
Yeah, yeah. And the fact that they still didn't give him anything major is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I get the running back market is like, oh, you people think running backs are a dime a dozen, but your whole offense centers around your running back. You need to have a good one,
Yeah,
and now they have a fine one.
yeah, it's definitely a downgrade.
Yeah, yeah,
The Eagles, speaking of the Eagles, signed Saquon to a 3-year, $37 million deal. Only $12 million a year is not bad at all for Saquon. Going to a team that I think they want to run the ball more, and DeAndre Swift was fine when it comes to that. But Saquon's just another level. Like he's just another level
right.
on above. Like there is tiers when it comes to running backs that you want to pay other guys more. I think Saquon is on that tier of he's a top 10, top 12 talent at running back.
Right.
They
Yeah,
also
Saquon he's a huge ad for them, and they retained a couple of their edge guys. They got a linebacker from the Lions, Julian Aquara. Uh, but I think the biggest thing about the Eagles is who they lost. They lost Kelsey, and then they also lost Fletcher Cox.
yeah.
Like I think this is sort of this is a prove if it's going to be a rebuild or if it's going to be a transition year. If they do good this year, then it's just a transition. If they do bad this year, then it's a starting the rebuild year.
Yeah, the issue is they have too much money locked up at so many positions. They're like,
Yeah,
for them to rebuild, it would be probably detrimental to not just like the future of the team, but it's like the reputation because like they have Jalen Hurts, they have AJ Brown, they have Devontae Smith, they have a really good offensive line. Their offense isn't the issue. It's their defense that it feels like they aren't putting a whole lot of money into their defense. Now they obviously signed Bryce Huff to a lot of money. He's a fine
right.
pass rusher, but he's never played more than 500 snaps in a season.
Mm.
Not great. Now that's because the Jets are just so deep at defensive line. but the fact that he couldn't beat out other guys is a little bit worrying. But I think he's still a good player. I think Bryce Huff is going to do good in that system. To me, that just means Hassan Reddick's gone. I think Hassan Reddick's gone. There's no chance he.
And they gave him permission for a trade, but then he's like, oh, I didn't want to trade. We're like, well, you
It's
get
yeah,
one.
yeah. We
No.
replaced you with Bryce Huff.
Yeah.
With the Commanders topping it off, they actually signed Austin Eckler, which I did not know until just now. I didn't hear the news about that at all today. They apparently signed Austin Eckler to a 2-year deal for $12 million. This is really the first. This is the first time I've heard this. I did not know they signed Austin Eckler.
Yeah, I just saw it. Good for him. I think that depending on, I mean, if the Commanders draft Drake, like we were talking earlier, if they draft Drake May, I think that Drake May's gonna have to learn to hand it off. But Eckler's been the main running back for years, so like he
Mm-hmm.
knows what he's doing. I think that the Commanders needed a strong run game because they really didn't have the greatest one last year.
Wait, and they bring in Zach Ertz, which I was shocked. I'm shocked that he went to in-division rival of the Eagles. Like, I understand he didn't play the Eagles for the last 2 or 3 years, but that's why he drafted and won a Super Bowl there. Like, I was shocked that he actually went to the Commanders.
Yeah, I think that I think he's more about Cliff Kingsbury than he's about the Eagles because he went with Cliff to
Yeah.
Arizona. He got used like crazy there. Cliff left and then he got cut and then he ended up with the Lions for like a game but didn't even play. Following a guy you like is really what that feels like to me.
Yeah. They also signed Tyler Biadasz, the center from the Cowboys. Obviously, Dan Quinn makes sense. But most importantly, in my opinion, they signed Dorrance Armstrong, which again, from the Cowboys. That makes a lot of sense. Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator, comes over to be the head coach of the Commanders, brings over 2 guys that he knows pretty well. Obviously, when you're a defensive coordinator, figuring out in practice how to beat the offensive line, you get to really learn offensive linemen. And apparently, he liked Tyler Biadasz. And Dorrance Armstrong had a really solid last 2 years. 3-year deal, $45 million. Pretty good. Again, I think that could be another guy that he believes in to be a stepping stone for this defense.
Yeah.
Then moving on to the NFC North, we got the Chicago Bears. Honestly, they might be one of the biggest winners of the NFC North. I really like what they've done. DeAndre Swift, 3 for 24. Not bad at all. Jalen Johnson, getting him on extension. Kevin Byard, like they've done pretty well. They've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, and I mean, again, going back to we're gonna have a rookie, so paying Jalen Johnson is not a big deal at all. Byard, he's a good safety. He was all right with the Eagles. He was an All Pro with the Titans. I think that beefing up the defense with the Bears, and maybe leave it so that assumingly Caleb Williams has an easier time to where he doesn't have to play hero ball, because that's what he was doing this whole last season at USC was that he had to score 50 points a game, otherwise they're losing.
Yeah.
And so he was pressed a lot more. I think if you can take the pressure off of Caleb or Justin, we all it's the biggest known secret in the world that they're going to go with Caleb. But taking the pressure off the quarterback so that they don't have to press is the biggest success for Chicago, I think.
Yeah, showing up that secondary, make sure nothing falls apart. To make sure he doesn't have to play that hero ball.
Yeah.
The Lions, wouldn't say it's the best offseason. Definitely did not have the worst one, but I just think that they could have done more. I think they probably will do more. I actually want to see how much money you guys have. Let me see.
We have a lot.
What are the Lions? If I can find where they are, Lions. So the Lions are currently at 31.7. They can still restructure Jared Goff, free up 21 million. Restructure Taylor Decker, free up 10 million. Restructure Frank Ragnow, free up another 5 million. Like there's a lot of moves that can be done to free up more money.
I think we're gonna extend Goff. I think that's a no brainer. Free up money and then also just keep him there because Detroit loves him. I think the biggest thing with Detroit was retaining as many as we could, and then just adding some secondary pieces, adding some key pieces. because the offensive line worked perfectly for Goff. It may not have been like the greatest in the world, uh, but it worked for Goff, and that's all that matters. So
Yeah, bringing in
off
Carlton
like
Davis is a
the
big
weapons are
is pretty
perfect.
good.
Yeah. Davis is a great pull. Re-signing Mosley is okay. Again, it's somebody who's been there. Uh, Granted, he's had the ACLs and stuff, but they obviously like him enough
Yeah.
to keep signing him because they re-signed him last offseason and then he popped his ACL again. So resign. They obviously there's something about him they like whether it's a locker room presence, whether it is like a veteran presence, or if it's just like, hey, when he's on the field, he's great. We love him. Uh, Reeves Maben. Wasn't he just I think he was just a
All
Pro
pro.
Bowler, wasn't he?
He was an all
Yeah,
pro.
he was All Pro. Great extension there. Uh, Pulling Marcus Davenport for the edge is going to be good. Having somebody, he'll play opposite of Hutchinson more than likely.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a starter.
And that's our biggest thing that we've needed was somebody somebody opposite of Hutchinson.
Well, I've been wanting Josh Allen to go to the Lions. I think it makes a lot of sense. You guys can trade for him and extend him, and that won't even hurt your cap because Aiden Hutchinson has another 4 years until you have to pay him. Trade for Josh Allen, give him a 4-year extension. Boom! Like you got the pairing next to Aiden Hutchinson. Then when Aiden Hutchinson's ready to get extended, you move up with Josh Allen.
Right. Yeah, I mean Hutchinson's they'll probably extend him. Not that they'll probably give.
Well, I mean, he's going into his 3rd year. He's going into
year 3. Yeah.
So this after upcoming season, they'll pick up his 5th-year option. So then he'll have another 2 years in the team. So he has 3 years until you have to extend him.
I got you.
So you could, I was going to say, you could sign Josh Allen, or trade and sign him, and then you have him sign him to a 4-year deal. You cut him after 3 years. Then you give that money to Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
Because then you have a running mate with Aiden Hutchinson to really get after the quarterback.
Yeah, that's I think if we're not going to improve the secondary significantly, the strat is to improve the pass rush.
Yeah.
To pressure the quarterback to make more mistakes. Because we've got some guys, we've got CJ Gardner-Johnson. When he was there, he was good.
Yeah, he's still a free agent, so maybe he could come back.
I think they'll bring him back. He fit Detroit's energy, I feel like. There was some stuff on Twitter during the playoffs, or like they were talking about, CJ Gardner-Johnson's dirty, or what's the other guy's name who they would call him dirty? It was one of the other safeties or cornerbacks. I forget his name, but they were saying that he was super dirty because he took out the Vikings TJ Hawkinson's knee. And they're like, oh, he did it on purpose. He's dirty. And, like, I don't think they play dirty. I think that they just play aggressive.
Yeah.
And so, like, it is what it is. It's football. People get hurt. No one said that the guy who hurt Chubb, what's his name?
No. Minkah has been the last couple of years. It's been an issue because I think he helped tear someone else's Achilles later on in the season, but like the angle of how he went for it was going for the knee. It just was.
Okay.
And that's been issues with him and Nick Chubb in the past because again Nick Chubb is a monster.
Yeah.
And
it's frustrating playing him twice a year.
Yes, and they've been playing each other for the last 3-4 years. Heated rivalry. They were both there for the Myles Garrett helmet situation. Like, there's a lot of bad blood between the Steelers and the Browns. And I just think it's one of those, like, kind of like the same with the entire AFC North. I feel like it's more aggressive than most divisions. So that aggressiveness is on the field too. It's not just like in the fan bases, not just in the media. It's on the field. You can feel it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just one of those plays. He went for the knee because again, it's an aggressive, competitive game, and it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
So I don't hate him for it. It's just it happens. I just wish he didn't go for the knee because I don't like anyone getting hurt.
Yeah.
Moving on with the NFC. Sorry.
Two.
Yeah,
next two.
Yeah, the Packers. I mean, the Vikings haven't really done anything besides Jonathan Grenard. Really good pass rusher from the Texans. Had a boom year, just like Ogbo Okoronkwo last year. Gets a similar contract. from the Browns for Okoronkwo. Jonathan Grenard 4 for 76. They obviously Danielle Hunter's not coming back. But for the Packers, they have 2 signings, but they're both really good. Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney. Josh Jacobs 4 years 48. Xavier McKinney 4 for 68. Great, just great. Those are great signings for the Packers.
I think it's interesting that they cut AJ Dillon, or not AJ Dillon,
Aaron
the other one,
Jones.
Aaron Jones. I think it's interesting that they cut him.
I mean, I think
Um,
they're just changing their style of running because Aaron Jones is a very elusive running back who can catch out of the backfield, and Josh Jacobs is
Right.
a hard nosed runner. I think that's just a scheme difference that they want to go with the run game.
Okay.
I think it's more of like, hey, it's not Aaron Jones is bad. It's that we want to be more physical of a run game, and Josh Jacobs fits that.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
I think like a year or two ago, he had taken a restructured contract and got paid way less money to stay with the team.
Mm,
So I think it just was like we want to change the style of our run game, and you just don't fit
Yeah.
their style anymore.
yeah. It's interesting for sure.
Yeah, and Xavier
Vikings,
McKinney is
they
awesome.
lost. Vikings lost Kirko.
Yep, to the
So
Atlanta
it'll be interesting to
Falcons.
see what they do. I've seen people say that they might try and trade for Trey Lance if they can't trade up in the draft.
Yeah,
Because Trey Lance was on the board when they were drafting. When Trey Lance was drafted, he was on the Vikings board because he went to Minnesota. He's either from Minnesota or he went to college in Minnesota, and so it's sort of like a hometown kid thing.
hmm
But if they can't trade up in the draft, or if they don't love any of the quarterbacks, that's an option. But I think that it'll be interesting to see what happens with Jefferson for sure, because now he doesn't know who's throwing to him.
yeah.
It'll be
His
interesting to
money
see
just
if
went
he
up.
wants to stay.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, his price is what I say. Hey, if you want me to stay for who knows, then you better pay me way more.
yeah, which is valid. I mean, it's
Yeah,
very valid.
yeah, it's valid. I think that if they keep Jefferson, I think that's a bigger sign that they're going to want to trade up. That they're going to trade up for whoever they
Well,
can.
I don't think he's gonna sign until he knows they're trading up. Like I think that's I don't think I think he's gonna play on his rookie deal right now, and if they don't trade up, he'll request a trade.
So you think if after the draft he's not impressed with the quarterback, he'll request a trade?
Maybe I think it'll be a private conversation. Like, hey, like either you pay me more, or I'm not signing back with you. You can figure out like either you're gonna let me walk for free, you're gonna tag
Mm,
me and trade me, or you trade me right now when the leverage is the highest. Because
yeah,
if you tag him, you like you have what's happening with T Higgins right now. Not a lot of buzz about who's trading for T Higgins because you know you have to sign to an extension.
yeah,
If I'm the Vikings, I'm trading up for Jaden Daniels. I'm trading up for Drake May. I'm doing whatever I can. I would go for Jaden Daniels because he went to LSU this past 2 seasons, I think, and Justin Jefferson
yeah,
went to LSU, so I think there is a connection
yeah,
there. That's what I would do.
yeah.
I'd go for Jaden Daniels.
I think so too. He seems the best fit for the Vikings. Just I think that he'll be able to play well in their system. But if the Pats are guaranteed to keep him, or if they want to keep third, then I think it's gonna go Caleb, Drake, Jaden.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
any of those orders, the top three, that's gonna be it. Although the Patriots did just sign Jacoby Brissett,
Well,
so they may.
that's bridge. They've been saying that
That's what I'm
they're
saying. They may push it off this year. They may get a first next year.
That's what I was saying is that if I'm the Patriots, I'm trading back, knowing I have
Yeah.
Jacoby, and I'm drafting JJ McCarthy for the potential upside. But
Mm,
I'm getting multiple picks to help my rebuild. Like that's why
yeah.
I'm like you sign Jacoby, who is I'm gonna say a bigger arm. I'm gonna say it's a big arm, but I think Jacoby and JJ McCarthy have a lot in common. JJ's
Mm,
more accurate than Jacoby, but I mean I love Jacoby Brissett. I watched a whole season of him. We watched him beat Tom Brady. I love Jacoby
yeah.
Brissett. I liked him
Yeah.
when he was on the Colts. I liked him when he was on the Patriots originally. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't see him being like a franchise guy, obviously at this point, but
Yeah.
he's a bounce around the league and be that
Yeah.
bridge guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick was.
Yeah.
The Falcons, speaking of Kirk Cousins, signed him obviously to a 4 year, $180 million contract. $100 million of it guaranteed. Good for him.
It's crazy.
coming off a
Good
torn
for him,
Achilles.
but man, he has been paid so much money to
Yep.
only win one playoff game.
I mean, but it's consistency though. Like
Yeah,
you know what you're gonna get. You know you get a guy who throws the ball 40 times a game for 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Like that's basically
right,
his average.
right. Which
Uh,
I think the NFC South is a strong place for him to go
yeah, yeah, for sure.
because I think he could very easily win the division. It's going to be him and Bake Show. Those are the two who are going to be competing for the win for the top of it at this point.
Yeah, then that's it. Really, that's all they've done so far, which is good. They
Yeah,
got their quarterback, which is definitely good. The
yeah.
Panthers, their biggest move was signing Robert Hunt, the guard from the Dolphins, which
Mm,
5 years, 100 million, a lot of money for a guard. He's very good.
yeah,
He's really developed with the Dolphins, and maybe that's why they couldn't sign him. Is they're like, there's no way we're paying you $20 million a year, which is valid, completely valid.
yeah.
Because $20 million for a guard who has only been good the last 2 years and isn't like a top 5 guard. It's just a good guard. It's a good guard. But
Right.
if that's the going rate, I'm drafting a rookie. I'm sorry. I'm not
Yeah.
paying
Oh yeah.
I'm not paying $20 million. Because you still gotta
Right,
pay
exactly.
Tua, you gotta pay Jalen Waddle, you're gonna have to pay hopefully if you bring back Connor Williams, you gotta pay Connor Williams. Like there's just no way. There's no way I would have paid $20 million for an offensive lineman who isn't
Yeah.
my premier offensive lineman.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Panthers make
That's
sense that they would pay him that.
yeah. Other than that, the Panthers traded Brian Burns. Like
Yeah,
that's their biggest thing is they traded somebody.
and they don't want to. They'd rather pay Robert Hunt $20 million than Brian Burns $25 million. Make that make sense. I hope someone can make that make sense, which is insane.
You can't.
And the Saints, Demario Davis, the 35-year-old wonder, re-signs on a 2-year deal. What did Demario Davis have last year? Let me see. PFF loves Demario Davis, but I want to see what his stats were. Demario Davis, God, they love Demario Davis too much. He was fine. He's fine. He's 35 years old. Since like 2017, he's been just re-signing every year with the Saints. Holds down the 4 at middle linebacker. Whatever. Tyrann Mathieu, same thing. Is now the Saints have become a nursing home at this point.
It's because they're nursing their cap situation.
Yeah, which is fair. I mean, it's cheaper to extend your guys that you have than to sign a new guy, which is very
But
depressing.
they just keep rolling the ball down the hill
Yeah.
instead of taking a year of eating it like the Bucks did, which they're next on the list.
Yeah,
You know,
re-sign
they-
Baker
they
Mayfield,
signed
man.
Baker, Mike Evans, Baker. I
Tag
think
Antoine.
Winston's gonna get a deal.
Oh yeah, they're not letting him
I think
walk.
they-
They're not
Yeah,
letting him walk.
they tagged him. I think it's just until they work out a deal.
Yeah, he was the best safety last year. Like he was the best safety.
Yeah, so I mean, their biggest thing is retaining their 3 big guys, which good for them. They now have the ability to sign stuff because they took an eat it year last year with Baker, and he overachieved. Good for him. But other than that, I mean,
Yeah, Antoine Winfield had 87 tackles, 3 interceptions, 26 run stops, 6 forced fumbles, and 6 sacks, and 3 interceptions last year. He was the best safety, hands down, in the NFL. There's no way they're going to let him walk. And they're going to work out a deal.
no. Yeah, yeah,
Because if they don't work out a deal, they're idiots. Just complete idiots.
yeah.
That's it for the NFC South. Final up is NFC West. I'm actually a big fan of what the Cardinals have done so far. This last 2 off seasons, I've been huge fans of them. Tristan Colon was actually one of my like deep cuts offensive guards.
Mhm.
I was a huge fan of watching him in Arizona last year. I'm shocked that he's actually was one of their first signings they did was Tristan Colon. I think he has really good versatility. He could play tackle. I was an undrafted free agent out to the Ravens a couple of years ago. 6'4", 313. Just good. Like I was shocked how good he played last year. So it's good to see he was one of the primary guys that re-signed. Mac Wilson, former Browns linebacker. We'll always love Mac Wilson. Sean Murphy-Bunting, another Bucks cornerback from that Super Bowl year, who just keeps bouncing around the league for some reason. even though he played really well. And Justin Jones, another guy I'm a big fan of from the Chargers.
Yeah, I don't think I watched a single Cardinals game all year.
I watch so many Cardinals games. I love the Cardinals.
Okay.
I'm a very big like Kyler Murray believer. I have him as I probably would edge him towards top 5 after this past season.
Really?
The way he rebounded after that torn ACL and played like nothing happened, like it's insane. Like he was in my firm top 10 before his injury. He might be creeping close to my top 5. I'm a very
Wow.
big fan of
Okay.
Kyler Murray. So
Okay.
and they got Shane Steichen. No, he went to the Colts. They got Jonathan Gannon as their head coach.
Yeah.
But Drew
Yeah.
Petzing, the former Browns quarterbacks coach, is their offensive coordinator. And he's been phenomenal as an offensive coordinator. I'm a very big fan of what the Cardinals can do. NFC West is too busy though. It's too many good teams. They're getting buried in the noise. That's what sucks.
Yeah. Well, this may be the hope. Maybe they can break out this year.
Yeah,
They're gonna get Marvin Harrison.
God, I
I
can't
think
wait.
that they're gonna get. I think they're gonna get Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, if they
got-
get Marv and they have Kyler, oh my God, I'm watching every game.
Hopefully it'll be good. I'll have to watch some film. Watch
Yeah.
some of the highlights or past games from last season.
Yeah, Kyler, watch what game was it? There's one game I watched because Arizona. Oh, Kyler Murray. I had to watch Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray. What game was it last year? There was one game. It might have been the game he came back from his injury. He ran for like 2 touchdowns and threw 3 touchdowns in one game last year, and I think it was the first game back from his injury. Because I know they won the first game back from his injury. I think it was that game,
Yeah.
Cardinals. Schedule. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, it wasn't the Browns game. They got blown out, and I don't think Kyler was back yet. It might have been the Falcons game. Whatever game it was, Kyler came back. Yeah, it was the Falcons game. Yeah, Kyler that game had. Where is it? Oh, it was a game-winning touchdown is what it was. But Clayton Tune, because it was still like they were holding back his minutes because he was still coming back.
Yeah.
But he had a game-winning scramble to win the game off a torn ACL. He ran for like 30 yards and won the game. Yeah, I'm a very big fan of Kyler Murray. I think he can still be a top 5 quarterback. And I'm happy that he's finally having a team around him that's building around him.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to watch some Kyler Murray stuff because the years that I've been into football, he got knocked out like 2 years
And
ago.
he was mid that year.
Yeah, and the last season he was out for 90% of it.
Yeah.
Most of it.
The Rams are the next team up. I'm a very big fan of Demarcus Robinson. I'm very upset he got re-signed. I was hoping that he would make the Browns would make a run at him. Late season, he was their big body red zone threat, and he was phenomenal. Like he was my favorite outside of Tyler Boyd from the Bengals. He was my favorite, my favorite wide receiver 3 that you could have for any team. Because I think he's like 6'6". I think he is. Let me see real quick. Demarcus Robinson. Oh wow, he plays like he's 6'1", but he plays like he's a 6'5", 6'6" receiver. I was a really big fan of him. Kobe Parkinson, run blocking tight ends, 3 for 22. We've seen this year a lot of run blocking tight ends getting a lot of money. And you lost Jonah Jackson to the Rams.
We did.
3 for 51. That's actually pretty. So Kevin Dotson was on the Steelers. They traded for him. He was horrible on the Steelers, just a straight ass, bad. Comes to the Rams, is the best guard in the NFL. He had the best season last year. He was an amazing run. He was an amazing run blocker. Really good pass blocker. Completely changed Kyron Williams. So they have Jonah Jackson, who I like, and they have Kevin Dotson, who has really improved. That offensive line is scary.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
especially because of Williams. Because I had him in fantasy last year. And
you
was
did.
What led me to the championship was him right there. Like Kyron, especially when he came back after his injury, where he was out for I think it was 5 or 6 weeks. When he came back, that was like the burst of air into my sails that led me to the second place.
Yeah, I've been a very big proponent of, because let me check their cap. I want to see what updated it is now. because I had them going balls to the wall. They still have $30 million. So they still have $30 million of cap space, the Rams do. I've been saying they need to go all in on Tyron Smith. Just go do it. Just make the best offensive line in the NFL this upcoming season. Go balls to the wall. You have the best run game next season, and you have something that can actually protect Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I think if they can protect Matt Stafford, that would be that's the thing that's going to determine if they make it, is if Matt Stafford is upright
Yeah.
and has time to throw. Because if he has time to throw, dude is like a machine where he's just going to laser it wherever he wants it to go.
Yeah.
If he's got time, if he's not running, if there's a couple times last year where they had to call timeouts because they couldn't get communication going and all that stuff. That was a big thing in the wild card round last year. Was they wasted, I think it was they wasted two timeouts for communication issues with the offensive line, if I'm not mistaken. uh yeah, I think if he had a better a great offensive line as opposed to a good offensive line, that's what they're missing, I think.
Well, yeah, and they don't really have any money spent on defense anymore outside of Aaron Donald. Like, your defense is playing pretty well for a bunch of guys in rookie contracts. I thought L'Jarius Sneed maybe to the Rams. I thought that could be a possible trade target because I think they need a bona fide number one corner. And I thought L'Jarius Sneed would be a great fit. But they still have $30 million. Like, you could go after a Tyron Smith and a L'Jarius Sneed and just go all in on this season. The 49ers are weaker than they were last year. The Seattle Seahawks, brand new head coach. The Cardinals just aren't there yet. Why not try and win this division next year and try and win the NFC, which is still wide open? Like, any team can win the NFC next year. Why not?
Yeah.
Why can't the Rams be the ones that win it? And you still have all your draft picks.
Yeah.
Because that's why I think they just need to go balls to the wall. You know what? Let's go all in. Like, let's go all in again. It worked last time. We had the same head coach, same quarterback, same like basic core of guys.
I think they might. I don't know if they're going to trade for Snead because the Chiefs may want Snead to have like a number one pick. They may want a number one first round pick for him, which I don't think. I think that they want.
It's always tough for tag and trades because not only are you giving up a draft pick, you then have to sign that player. That's why usually when you get like a tag, like Brian Burns, for example, went for a second round pick.
Right.
Brian Burns and L'Jarius Sneed are probably about the same value. I think probably a second and maybe something like a second and a fourth for L'Jarius Sneed because you have to sign him then to that massive extension. Because now that player has all the leverage and all the contract negotiations. Because you traded for me, sign me to this record-breaking deal now. So it's always usually that drops the value of the draft pick.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, because I would not trade a first and then sign him that massive deal. I'm like, no, why would I'm gonna draft someone in the first round who's cheaper, like, and they could develop. Like, why would I waste that money and that draft capital?
Right. Okay.
The 49ers, though, interesting. Leonard Floyd's fun. That's it, really. 2 for 20.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one on what they've done so far is getting Leonard Floyd.
But they did let go of Eric Armstead, which I'm not the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
Now, I am a biggest fan because maybe he's on the Browns, but I am not a fan of them cutting Eric Armstead, one of the longest tenured 49ers that are currently on the roster, or I guess were on the roster. Maybe another team can pick him up for pretty cheap because they'll be paying that salary this upcoming season. There's a lot of free agents, though. That's exciting. There's a lot of free agents still available. Because, I mean, the Seahawks, there's not really nothing really to talk about. Noah Fant, cool.
Yeah.
The last really piece of that Rush trade, cool. But I mean, just some notable free agents that are still available. Obviously, as the free agency is still going. Oh, wait, another big. Okay, so some signings are rolling in.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, Seahawks still haven't signed anyone. The Jets have made a signing.
Wow.
They've made a signing. They have signed veteran offensive lineman John Simpson from the Baltimore Ravens, 2 years, $18 million. He was
Okay.
he was an undrafted guy, never played a snap, went to the Ravens the last 2 years and started immediately. He was another guy I was a big fan of when it comes to like depth guys, just like Tristan Colin.
Okay.
So big on. I'm happy that he got a shot to start somewhere. The Panthers add another guard, Damian Lewis from the Seahawks. That's tough. That them losing Damian Lewis. 4 years, $53 million.
The Bengals signed Zach Moss
And they cut.
from the Colts.
Then
And
they cut Joe Mixon.
Mixon.
The Browns are the
I feel like
funniest.
I feel like that's a pretty lateral.
Yeah,
A pretty lateral move, all things considered.
it's cheaper for them. That's why they did it.
Yeah.
But the Browns can do the funniest thing right now and sign Joe Mixon for a cheap deal. It'd be just and we already own the Bengals. It'd be the funniest thing to re-sign Joe Mixon, just go all in. But yeah, I mean, what? So in the NFC, who's your biggest winner in the NFC? So far after day one,
Day one winner. Let me
the
go through
Cowboys.
it. There's not a no.
Somehow
think
worse than the
they-
Jets.
I think day one winner is a tie between I think the Bears and who was it else? I think the Bears
Mhm.
and the Bucks. I think they tied.
Yeah, because the Bucks have to
Because the
retain Mike
Bucks-
Evans.
Yeah, the Bucks retained their three big pieces of Baker, Williams, and Winfield,
Mm-hmm.
or Evans, not Williams. Mike Evans. They retained their big three, and the Bears are setting up for Caleb Williams. You know, keeping keeping Jalen Johnson is huge. Signing Kevin Byard is huge. Signing DeAndre Swift is huge
Yeah.
because their run game was meh last year. Like it was fine.
Yeah, I was a
But it
big fan of
wasn't like-
Roshan Johnson coming out of the draft.
Yeah, but it was nothing to write home about.
No.
And that whether that's an indictment on the running back or an indictment on the offensive line, I don't know enough to tell you. But DeAndre Swift, I feel like I think he's a good back.
Yeah, he's fine. He's quality.
Yeah.
Now, who's the biggest loser in your mind? Not the Cowboys. You can't say the Cowboys. It's
I would say
obvious.
the Cowboys.
it's obviously
because
the
they didn't sign anybody.
They're the biggest losers overall, which is well, who like of besides the Cowboys in the NFC, who's the biggest loser so far?
I mean, probably the Panthers.
I don't know, man. I'm a big fan of the guards they signed. I mean, it's $150 million total for the next 4 or 5 years. So you put in your guards, but it's protecting your franchise.
I mean, you could say the Seahawks because they didn't really do anything.
Mm-hmm.
They signed a defensive end, and that's really it. Like they
Oh,
retained
Leonard
Noah
Williams.
Fant.
Yeah, they re-signed Leonard
Yeah.
Williams.
I mean, if the Seahawks or the 49ers, just in terms of like the 49ers traded for who they the defensive lineman last year.
Well, they
edge
signed.
rusher.
Chase Young.
Chase Young. They traded for him, and now they're probably gonna just let him walk.
Yeah.
So I feel like, Leonard Floyd. How old is Leonard Floyd? Isn't he pretty old?
He's old. He's old. He's like 34.
Yeah. So signing for signing a 34-year-old edge rusher, and I maybe it's just because I'm biased with the 49ers. I think Seattle Seahawks probably had so far the worst day one.
That's not
just
the
'cause they
obviously
really haven't done
Cowboys.
that much.
That's obviously not the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys are for real because they did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
All they did was lose pieces. But yeah.
Yeah. So far, in my opinion, the biggest winner is a tie. I think the Eagles have done amazing. Obviously, I mean, like retire. It's different when you lose guys to retirement than when you lose them in free agency.
Yeah.
I don't ding them as much as retirement because guess what? Those are two guys that stayed with the Eagles their entire career. We knew they were going to eventually retire. It's okay. I'm not too mad about it. But they got Saquon, and they got Bryce Huff. They kept Brandon Graham. They kept Landon Dickerson. Big moves. And what was the other team I liked? It was, the Cardinals. I think it makes sense. They're filling out their, like, they don't really have, like, impact starters, but they're filling out guys that either can be really good rotation or are going to start and have a really high floor. Because they know what they are, right? I think they know what they are. They're not ready for those big $100 million deals yet, like the Panthers are.
Right.
I think the Panthers are overpaying because of how bad they are. The Cardinals are accepting, hey, let's get the guys who fit our scheme, fit our system, want to play ball, and want to like try and rebuild this team. And I think I respect that way more than overpaying by $10 million to get a guy who will be here for 3 years.
Right.
But yeah, obviously the biggest loser is actually the Cowboys. But loser, I want to get someone who's actually trying. That's the thing. I want to grab someone who's actually trying. That is, I'm gonna say the Vikings. I'm gonna say the Vikings are the biggest losers so far.
That's not a bad one. I think that they're shoring up their defense. They signed Andrew Van Ginkel. They signed Jonathan Grenard.
And I like Jonathan Grenard.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Danielle Hunter's coming off a really good year. I think it was more like it was time for them to part ways. But I just don't think Jonathan Grenard was a great replacement. For what?
Right.
Like if it was Danielle Hunter and Grenard, A+. But knowing that
Right.
he's now your number one pass rusher after one good season and another season that was okay, like that's a little tough for me to swallow. Andrew Van Ginkel, fine rotation pass rusher. Blake Cashman, you had Ivan Pace, an undrafted rookie who was amazing, and you then signed another coverage linebacker. What's the point? Right. And your offensive line is not great. You just sign a backup. You sign a backup tight ends. I don't know. I think that's not the best.
Yeah, and you lost Kirk.
And you lost Kirk.
With an uncertain future with Jefferson. Yeah,
I'm gonna say the Eagles are the biggest winner of the NFC though. I mean, like Saquon is a big get. That's just a big get. As much as I like the Cardinals, I think the Eagles by far.
And he's about to play with a huge chip on his shoulder.
Yes.
Twice a year.
And now he's trying to go for a Super Bowl. Like it's different. Yeah. It's a different mindset you're in when you're trying to win a Super Bowl. Who do you think's the biggest winner overall then of day one, of all the teams we've gone over tonight?
I feel like the Texans, man. I think
really
I think they've got a bright future, and shoring up their defense the way that they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're setting up for a huge upset with I think they're going to be the biggest threat to the three-peat. I really do. I think that they still have plenty of cap. They still have plenty of picks. And you've got C.J. Stroud, who is only going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're the biggest threat to the three-peat right now.
Okay. I'm trying to do just off of like these, like, because I know that certain guys are gonna get signed, right? Like I know, like for example, the Browns. It's basically set in stone. DJ Reader's going to the Browns. And with the other moves, I think the Browns have won so far. The issue is I'm trying not to be a homer, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, I know what's going to happen, but it can always fall through. I like what the Patriots have done. I really do. I mean, the biggest winners, probably not, but I like what the Patriots have done. The Texans, man, they're up there. They've had a really good free agency. I'm going to go Chiefs. It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, as of right now, you kept L'Jarius Sneed, you re-signed Chris Jones, you re-signed Drew Tranquill. You don't really need to sign anyone new. They've kept the two big, in my mind, Chris Jones was the number one free agent, and L'Jarius Sneed was the number one corner available. You technically have both of them on roster still.
That's true.
So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs have won free agency so far, knowing that's gonna change probably tomorrow because people are gonna get signed. But the fact that you were able to,
I think if the Chiefs signed a huge number one receiver, whether
they won't. It's gonna be a draft.
They're not going to.
They're gonna draft.
They're gonna draft Xavier Worthy because he's already. Mahomes is already texted. He's already talking to him. Xavier Worthy ran a crazy speed. He's gonna be his new Tyreek. But the only thing that I think that could make the Chiefs free agency better would be signing a huge wide receiver or signing a big offensive weapon.
So would you rather them do that or extend L'Jarius Sneed? Like what in your mind was a bigger deal? Like let's just say it's a 4-year extension that makes him a top 5 corner.
Because it's hard to say because they just did two. They just two-timed it with basically the same crew.
Yeah.
Uh,
with no
I
wide receiver
think,
one.
yeah, with no real wide receiver one. I mean, who is their rookie?
Rasheed Rice,
That who Rasheed Rice? He's probably going to emerge. Uh,
which I missed on.
they
I did
cut
not like Rasheed
They
Rice.
cut MVS.
Thank God.
They're probably going to cut Tony. I don't
Hopefully.
imagine how they don't. I mean, they sat him the entire playoffs.
Yeah.
So they're going to cut him. So I mean, they're going to draft another guy. I think if they I feel like they need to sign one more wide receiver,
Yeah, I'm sure they'll
whether it's
sign
a
a
big
veteran.
name or a solid name. Uh, that would be how they would win free agency for me, just because they retain Chris Jones. Purely on
Mhm.
retaining Chris Jones, they're like top 5 best free agents.
Yeah, and again, they technically have L'Jarius Sneed under roster. Now,
Yeah,
will he stay till like by tomorrow? Will he be gone? More than likely. It's more than likely.
Yeah.
But as of right now, technically he is still playing for them this year. So you retain all 3 guys I would have retained.
Yeah.
You've got to win that.
Frankel, Sneed, Jones. Yeah.
Yeah. And who's the worst team overall? Again, excluding the Cowboys, who are obviously the worst team. I'm talking about a team who's actually trying to sign players, but you're just like, that's an overpay. They should have gone for another dude. Like, who do you think is the overall loser so far?
Let me see.
I have a controversial one in mind.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think just in terms of not addressing the need, the Jets,
Mm-hmm.
that would be whom. I mean, that's
Because it
would
looks like
be
they're
the easy
trying.
one.
Like, it looks like they're trying. They're just losing in a lot of these battles.
Yeah, I think that they're just not. I think that uh I think that Rodgers still has a chokehold on decision making, and I don't think that they're going to be able to do anything crazy. I think that he's like, oh, we got it, and it's going to happen because of me, not because of the signings.
Yeah.
I think the Jets.
I'm gonna say the Bengals.
Okay.
They completely whiffed this T. Higgins situation, just completely. I'm gonna guess happened in the contract negotiation is T. Higgins said, "You gave Joe Burrow #1 money. Why can't I get #1 money? Like why can't I reset the scale for wide receivers?" They said, "You're not better than Jamar Chase," and that immediately was like, "But I was here before him. I'm still here. I would like I think there's something went wrong when it came to negotiations, and they've whiffed it. Like that is because they're not even trying anymore. They tagged him.
They haven't talked in a year, haven't they?
What was that?
Like, didn't they tag him and like not even discuss it?
Nope. They just tagged him. Yeah, they just tagged him and didn't even tell him they were tagging him. He said March of 20. Like he said they've not talked all of March. Tags happen in March, and then you haven't talked to him. What are you expecting?
I thought it was they haven't talked about it since March of last year.
Oh, I thought it was March of this year.
I thought it said March 23.
T. Higgins trade.
They haven't talked about an extension in a year.
I need to see that. I thought it was this year. He said it was
no, because we're only
2023. Wow.
Yeah, they haven't spoken in a year about an extension, meaning they are not extending it. They tagged him for trade purposes.
Wow. I thought it said 2024. I'm like, oh, so they tagged him without even telling him. So they really tagged him without telling him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can fumble that. You completely fumbled that situation. So I'm gonna say they're the biggest loser. I mean, cool. Geno Stone is cool. Cody Ford, backup guard. Drew Sample, backup tight end. The whole point of having T. Higgins and Jamar Chase was to win a Super Bowl. They went to one, lost sadly, and then just since then have just fumbled every bag they could. I'm gonna say the Bengals are the biggest losers because you lost Tyler Boyd as well in free agency. Like he's not coming back either. So you have Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, and you cut Joe Mixon.
And you cut Mixon, yeah.
So like there's just a whole bunch of whiffs from the Bengals. I'm saying they're my biggest loser.
Okay. And they lost their offensive coordinator.
Oh, and Brian Callahan. They replaced him. It was an internal promotion still, but they had to replace him with a guy that they obviously didn't want. They wanted Brian Callahan more than him. So yeah, that's all the free agency moves of day one. If you guys did enjoy it, please like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell to be notified when we post next. Probably won't do one for day 2. We'll probably do one a couple days from now, and it's recap from day 1. Yeah, like week 1, like the biggest moves. because in the next coming days you're gonna see a bunch of those like guys who could start but are more than likely their depth guys getting signed now. Because these are all the big money, and now all the little monies that start going out. Like expect a bunch of rotation wide receivers, backup corners, backup safeties getting signed now. Because now you gotta fill out their 53-man rosters. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy. Anything you want to say, Andrew?
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah. See you guys later. Peace and bye.